During an argument, my wife snapped and said, "I only married you because I thought the baby was yours. He deserves to know his real father." Instead of arguing, I secretly DNA tested our 5-year-old son that week. When the results confirmed her confession, I filed for divorce and presented everything in court with evidence she'd deliberately committed paternity fraud. She's been calling me nonstop since. I've spent the last 5 years believing I was a father. Now I'm sitting in my new apartment, staring at a phone that won't stop ringing with her number, wondering how my entire life imploded in just 6 weeks. My marriage to Rebecca was never perfect, but I thought we had something solid. Met in law school, both graduated with decent jobs at competing firms. I specialized in corporate litigation. She went into family law, ironically enough. After 3 years of dating, she got pregnant. Surprised but happy, I proposed. She accepted. We had a small wedding before she started showing. Our son, Ethan, was born 7 months later, slightly premature, the doctors said. I never questioned it. For 5 years, I've been the dad who coached t-ball, who built the treehouse, who checked for monsters under the bed. I've been the one getting up at 5 a.m. for Saturday hockey practice, the one saving for college since the day he was born. Ethan has my curly hair. Or so I thought. Turns out, curly hair is a dominant genetic trait that can come from either parent. Last month, we were having one of our typical arguments. Mundane bullshit about me working late again, about her feeling neglected, the usual. But this argument took a turn. Rebecca had been drinking wine all evening, something she'd been doing more frequently lately. I'd made a comment about Ethan's academic progress report, suggesting we consider getting him evaluated for dyslexia, since I'd struggled with it as a kid. That's when she snapped. "For fuck's sake, Nathan, stop projecting your issues onto him. He's nothing like you. He never has been." She swirled her wine, eyes cold. "I only married you because I thought the baby was yours. He deserves to know his real father." The room went silent. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. She seemed to realize what she'd said and backpedaled immediately. "I didn't mean that. I'm drunk, I'm angry, I'm saying stupid things." But I'd seen it in her eyes. Truth has a certain clarity to it, even when it's ugly. I nodded slowly, told her we'd talk in the morning, and went to the guest bedroom. She followed, apologizing profusely, offering explanations. I shut the door, spent the night staring at the ceiling, replaying 5 years of memories, looking for signs I'd missed. The next morning, we both acted like nothing had happened. She was all smiles, making pancakes with Ethan, asking about my schedule. I played along, kissed my son goodbye, went to work and began planning methodically. First, the DNA test. I ordered a kit online, had it sent to my office. One cheek swab while giving Ethan a bath that weekend, another from myself, mailed off on Monday. Results would take about a week. While waiting, I started gathering other evidence, checked phone records from around the time of conception, noticed a recurring number I didn't recognize. Searched her emails for the same period. Yes, we had each other's passwords, supposed transparency in marriage. Found exchanges with someone named Alex that were illuminating. The timing matched perfectly. I scheduled a consultation with Martin Walsh, the most ruthless divorce attorney in the city, who also happened to be an old law school friend who owed me a favor. I came prepared with a timeline, evidence, and questions. 7 days after sending in the DNA samples, I got the email, opened it at my office with Martin sitting across from me. Not a match. 0% probability of paternity. I felt nothing. Just a cold, clear certainty about what needed to happen next. That evening, I acted normal. Helped Ethan with his dinosaur puzzle. Read him a bedtime story. Kissed Rebecca goodnight. Went to the guest room claiming early meetings. The next day, I began executing the plan Martin and I had crafted. I moved half our joint funds to a separate account, perfectly legal as long as I documented everything, which I did meticulously. Started looking for short-term housing, compiled all the evidence into a single, comprehensive file. 2 weeks after Rebecca's drunken confession, I had everything in place. I took a day off work while she was in court and Ethan was at kindergarten. Packed essential belongings, important documents, irreplaceable photos. Left her engagement and wedding rings on the kitchen counter with a note. "The DNA test confirmed what you said. I'll have my lawyer contact yours." Then I left the house keys, walked out, drove to my new furnished apartment, and waited. The calls started an hour later. I didn't answer. Texts flooded in, panic, confusion, anger, threats. I forwarded everything to Martin without reading most of them. That night was the hardest. I couldn't sleep knowing Ethan would be confused, but would wonder where I'd gone. But I couldn't stay in that house another night with her. Pretending. Rebecca filed an emergency motion the next day, claiming I'd abandoned the family and emptied our accounts. Classic misdirection. The judge wasn't impressed when Martin presented my documentation showing I'd only taken my legal half, plus evidence of the paternity fraud. The judge ordered a court-supervised DNA test to confirm my private one. Results were identical. Not my biological child. In the following weeks, through legal discovery, we uncovered the full extent of Rebecca's deception. Alex Thornton was a senior partner at her firm. Their affair had started before she and I were engaged and continued sporadically afterward. When she discovered she was pregnant, she calculated the odds, decided I was the safer bet for a stable family, and gambled that I'd never question paternity. She'd even written about her dilemma in a private journal, which Martin subpoenaed. The journal entries were damning, calculating, cold, deliberate fraud. No emotions, just logistics. How to time intercourse to make me believe the child was mine. How to explain any physical traits that might emerge. Then came the financial discovery. Rebecca had been siphoning money from our joint accounts for years into a separate investment portfolio. Nearly $200,000 diverted in small, regular increments that wouldn't trigger attention. Another layer of betrayal. The legal battle was swift and decisive. The judge was unsympathetic to Rebecca's tearful explanations, particularly given her background as a family law attorney who knew exactly what she was doing. The paternity fraud was the killing blow to her credibility. The financial fraud was the nail in the coffin. Final judgment, I received a full divorce, 75% of our marital assets, unusual but justified by her financial fraud, and she was ordered to repay legal fees. The court also ordered her to arrange contact between Ethan and his biological father, who was apparently unaware he had a son. Through all of this, the hardest part was Ethan. I requested and was granted transition visitation, not because I had any legal right to it, but because the judge understood the psychological impact on a 5-year-old who'd just lost the only father he'd ever known. Our first supervised visit after the DNA results was gut-wrenching. He ran to me, jumped into my arms, asked why I'd moved out, if I was mad at him. I held him tightly, told him I could never be mad at him, that grown-up problems were complicated, but he would always be important to me. I've maintained those visitations. They're not legally required, and every time I see him, it's a fresh wound. But he's innocent in all this. The attachment we formed over 5 years is real, even if the biology isn't. Rebecca calls daily. I've blocked her personal number, but she uses different phones, different tactics. Last week she showed up at my office. Security escorted her out. Yesterday I received a letter from Alex Thornton. Turns out Rebecca never told him about the pregnancy. He's requested a DNA test of his own, which confirmed paternity. He's filed for partial custody. Rebecca's perfectly constructed house of cards is collapsing entirely. I'm still processing everything. Some days I'm angry, some days I'm numb. Therapy helps. Work helps more. Throwing myself into cases, rebuilding my focus. I've started boxing again. Something I'd given up when Ethan was born, due to time constraints. I don't know what the future holds for my relationship with Ethan. I'm not his father, but for 5 years I was his dad. That counts for something, at least to me. We're taking it one supervised visit at a time. As for Rebecca, the woman I thought I knew never existed. The person who could methodically execute a deception of this magnitude for years, that's someone I never met until now. That's someone I have no interest in knowing. My phone is ringing again, another unknown number, another desperate attempt. I press decline and continue packing for a week-long hiking trip. First vacation I've taken alone in 6 years. First step in reclaiming my life. Update 3 weeks later. I didn't expect this post to get the attention it did. Thank you all for the support and advice. Many of you have asked for updates, so here's where things stand. The legal proceedings are complete. Divorce is finalized with terms unchanged from my previous post. Rebecca was also reported to the Bar Association's Ethics Committee, not by me, but by her own firm, after the details of the case became public record. she's facing potential disciplinary action. Her affair with a senior partner while she was a junior associate has also created significant professional issues for her. As for Alex Thornton, he's proceeding with establishing his parental rights. He and I met for coffee last week. Awkward doesn't begin to describe it. He claims he had no idea about Ethan, seemed genuinely shocked by Rebecca's actions. Whether that's true or not isn't my problem anymore. He did thank me for being a good father to his son for 5 years, which was both appreciated and painful to hear. The most significant development involves Ethan. After consulting with child psychologists, I've decided to maintain a relationship with him. Not as his father. That would be confusing as Alex steps into that role, but as a kind of uncle figure. The transition has been difficult to navigate, but the professionals believe maintaining some connection would be less traumatic than a complete severance, given our bond. Rebecca continues attempting to contact me, now primarily through her parents, who have reached out several times asking me to forgive their daughter's mistake. I've made it clear that 5 years of calculated deception isn't a mistake. It's a campaign of fraud. Her mother actually had the audacity to suggest I was being vindictive by enforcing the court's financial judgment. The delusion runs deep in that family. To those who suggested I fight for custody despite the DNA results, I appreciate the sentiment, but legally and psychologically, that would create more complications than solutions. Ethan deserves to know his biological father, and Alex appears committed to being present in his life. Several commenters asked about my mental health through all this. I'm doing better than expected. The hiking trip was transformative. A week of physical exertion and solitude helped clear my head. I've also started dating casually, nothing serious, just dinner conversations with women who know nothing about my story. It's refreshing. The most unexpected outcome. 3 former clients have reached out after hearing about my situation. Small legal community, word travels. They've requested I represent them in their own divorce proceedings, specifically citing my attention to detail and thoroughness. Apparently, my personal disaster has become a professional asset. Life is strange that way. Final update 6 months later. This will be my last update on this situation. Life has settled into a new normal that, while different from what I'd planned, is becoming sustainable. The biggest news: I've accepted a partnership offer at a competing firm in a neighboring city. The commute is longer, but the opportunity was too good to pass up. The move has also created some healthy distance between my old life and new one. Rebecca has finally stopped trying to contact me. Last month, she sold our former house and moved across the country. According to mutual acquaintances, she's taken a position at a much smaller firm with a significant pay cut. Her relationship with Alex dissolved completely after he gained partial custody of Ethan. Turns out he was engaged to someone else during their affair, yet another layer of deception in this saga. My relationship with Ethan has evolved into something I never expected. We have monthly outings, baseball games, science museums, hiking trails. He calls me Uncle Nathan now, which was initially jarring but has become comfortable for both of us. He's adjusting well to knowing Alex as his father, though there are naturally some struggles. After 6 months of therapy, I've reached a place of acceptance. The anger still flares occasionally, but it no longer dominates. I've even found moments of gratitude. As painful as this ordeal has been, continuing to live a lie would have been worse. To those who reached out privately with similar stories, thank you for your vulnerability. Paternity fraud is more common than many realize, and the legal system is only beginning to recognize its profound impact. I've started seeing someone seriously, a corporate tax attorney I met at a conference. She knows my full story, has met Ethan once, briefly, appropriately, and understands the complexities of my situation. Taking things slowly, but it's the first relationship since Rebecca that feels genuinely promising. When I look back at my original post, I barely recognize the man who wrote it. Shell-shocked, methodical in his pain, executing a plan while emotionally numb. That calculated approach got me through the crisis, but rebuilding has required reconnecting with emotions I'd temporarily shut down. For those in the midst of similar betrayals, offering advice feels presumptuous. Each situation is unique, but I will say this: document everything, find professional support, legal and psychological, and remember that surviving isn't the same as healing. The former requires strategy, the latter requires time. As for forgiveness, many have asked if I'll ever forgive Rebecca. I've concluded that forgiveness isn't relevant here. What happened wasn't a momentary lapse or a single bad decision. It was thousands of consecutive choices to deceive over years. I don't harbor hatred, as that would only hurt me, but neither do I feel any obligation to absolve her. What I do feel is gratitude for this community and the unexpected support it provided during the darkest period of my life. Thank you for bearing witness to my story, for your encouragement, and for your collective wisdom. Life continues, different but intact. And for now, that's enough. Edit. Several people have asked about the journal that was subpoenaed. No, I don't have copies. Those remain sealed court documents. And no, I wouldn't share them even if I did. Some details are better left private, even in anonymous forums. Edit 2. To clarify about the 75% asset division some questioned, this wasn't solely due to the paternity fraud, which many courts still treat inconsistently, but primarily because of the documented financial fraud. Rebecca had diverted marital assets systematically and deceptively for years. The judge specifically cited this breach of fiduciary duty in the ruling.